Let's have a quick look at the vertex graphing form. And equation is y equals a times x minus p squared plus q. Now those letters, a, p, and q, all tell us something about how a parabola is drawn, or what the parabola is going to be. Now, let's start with the first ones. Let's start with the p and the q. Those tell me where the vertex is. Now if you remember, vertex of a parabola, it's going to be this point right here where it's meant, or if you have a concave down one, it's going to be that point right there. That's the vertex. That's a good place to start when you're drawing your parabolas. So, my vertex is going to be at PQ, at the points PQ. Now remember, P gives me my x coordinate, Q gives me the y coordinate. The other trick you have to remember is in my formula, in my vertex graphing form, I've got a negative P in there. So when I write down the vertex, I have to give the opposite sign of the P because of that negative sign. That negative screws everything up. And we just have to be aware of it and work around it. Q works just fine how it is. So if I were given an example, if I, let's say a 3x minus 2 squared plus 5. The vertex of that equation is going to be now remember it's PQ, and you have to remember that the P is the opposite sign. I've got a negative 2 here, so my P is going to be a positive 2. My Q, however, stays whatever sign it is, so 2, 5. And if I were putting that on some graph paper, I would write it at, well, let's make it just a little bit bigger so we can see it easier. 2 over on the x, 5 up on the I. So 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's my vertex right there. This graph is probably going to look something like that, but we'll get into drawing the rest of the graph later. If by some chance, let's get this out of here. If by some chance you have an equation that looks like this one,
Mr. Bowles, would you please call the office?
y equals 2x plus 5 squared, and if I have nothing on the back, we need to remember that our vertex, this one green, which is still PQ. Well, my P, opposite sign, so in this case it's going to be a minus 5. Now I don't have anything written down in the Q. If there's nothing written down there, it's going to be a 0. So negative 5, 0. The same is true if I'm given something like that. Now this is another tricky one. If you look, there's nothing in the brackets squared with the x. You see how we've got this piece here? Well, there's nothing squared in there. So there's no P. So P in this case is going to be a 0. My vertex is going to be, remember it's PQ. Now there's no P, so I'm going to put a 0 in. Now I do have a Q, so I have to put that in. Remember, Q is always exactly the sign that it comes with. And I would draw that vertex at 0, negative 3. Next video, we're going to talk about what A means.